this is probably one of the most important developments of the whole Obama first term. Now you're going to say, wait, we just into it 2 months. What's happening here? Well, they have put together a group of so-called moderate Democrats, 15 of them in the Senate. And apparently there are 2 or 3 others that don't even want their names attached to the group, but that are secretly meeting with the group. That's according to their leader, Evan Bayh. He went on Morning Joe this morning to talk about the group and to announce it. Now, actually, we had heard about this group a couple of weeks ago, and we told you about it on the Young Turks. But now they've actually come out in the open. And they can derail all of Obama's plans. As Lawrence O'Donnell pointed out on the show, he was on with Morning Joe, he said this group will really control all the legislation, because if you have a block of 15 senators who are actually always going to vote with you, then you'll get to decide what passes and what doesn't pass. And through sometimes just basically voting, and other times through procedural matters. And that actually is more important. I'm going to explain that in just 1 second. So now, I should be happy if they're moderate Democrats, because I consider myself a moderate, a centrist. Now, some might disagree, but I do believe that. And I've, gone against Geithner. I was the first guy to go against Geithner. And I think the Obama administration has done some things wrong, and we're very much worried about the spending. So why do I think that this might be a dangerous development? Because these guys are not actually moderates. The real name of this group is the lobbyist group. Okay, these are the guys, you wondered, how are the lobbyists going to fight back against Obama? Can't he point it out and say, hey, look, that's a lobbyist and that's a lobbyist, and we shouldn't listen to them, and he's got 59 Democratic senators, so it should be easy to pass a lot of these things, whether it's health care reform or energy reform, etc. No, we just have put together the most powerful group in the Senate, and they are, in my opinion, doing the bidding of the lobbyists. Now, why do I say that? Because the first time I read about them, and now that I've read 2 or 3 stories about them, what I was most curious about is what direction are they going to go? In fact, if you remember the first time we did the story on the Young Turks, I said, look, they will decide which way the administration goes, because this is a powerful voting bloc in the Senate that can swing votes in either direction, and I'm curious as to which way they're going to go. Well, now it seems a little bit clearer. If they were to, point 1 is not bad. Point 1 is, hey, we're going to control spending. If they really mean it, then okay, I like that, and I think that there's an effective way to do that and be an actual moderate and say, I understand all these plans, but we've got to find a way to pay for them, we've got to be responsible, etc. If that was the sole focus of the group, I would love it, and I would say, that's great. But then we get to point 2 and 3, and that's where the trouble comes into play. The second point is, well, this health care reform, let's take a second look at it. Let's not rush into it. Okay? And now you know which way they're going to go on this based on something they've already said. They say, you know what? It shouldn't be going through the budget process. It should go through a regular legislative process where you vote on it by itself. Now, God, that sounds like why? Why does that matter at all? Here's why it matters. If it goes through the budget process, it only needs 51 votes. Okay? So it can pass easier. But if it doesn't go through the budget process, then it can be filibustered by the Republicans. So when they say it should go through the regular process, that means they want the Republicans to be able to filibuster it. Now, why do they want that? Because, in fact, they're working for the lobbyists, and they want to kill the health care reform. But they're Democrats, so they can't be seen as killing the health care reform. Voila. The answer is, let the Republicans filibuster it, and then when they can't get 60 votes, go, oh, I was going to vote for the thing. I was. And if you give me an opportunity, I'm voting for health care reform. But what could we do? The Republicans filibustered it, and we couldn't get past the filibuster. So sorry, even though I was on your side, there's going to be no health care reform. That's why this group is dangerous. When I heard that they wanted it taken out of the budget process, I said, oh, they got no interest. They got no interest in having this thing passed. And if that wasn't bad enough, point number 3, energy. They said, well, cap and trade, I don't know, we've got some issues with that. And, you really want to restructure energy in this country? We're going to have to take a second look at that. These guys are so deep in the pocket of the lobbyists. Please. And Evan Bayh comes out there pretending to be like, you know what? I'm the center of the country. Really? The center of the country doesn't want health care reform or energy reform? They're concerned about how much the lobbyists are paying you? That's what the center of the country is worried about? If you were really in the center of the country, I'd love it. So he told this to Joe Scarborough. Scarborough nearly lost it in his pants. He was like, oh my God, this is a fantastic development. Oh, this is so good. He said it about 8 times, over and over. So why is the conservative ecstatic, right? Well, Scarborough actually said it at the end. At the end of this long interview, he said, you know what? This is great for conservatives. In either party, Republican Party or Democratic Party. This is good for conservatives. All right, well, thank you for letting us know. Of course, yeah, conservatives love this group. These guys aren't moderates at all, and they could absolutely kill Obama's agenda on real change and real reform on all of these issues. And the main culprit is Evan Bayh. So if you want to look at the next Joe Lieberman, the guy who you should watch out for by far and away, it's Evan Bayh. And on top of this, he gets to pretend that he's a moderate and a centrist, so then he could run later and be like, oh, you see how centrist I was? America, elect me. I'm the guy in the middle that you want. It's a very clever plan. So now the next question is, how's Obama going to fight back? Now, you know Obama's a great politician, but this is going to be a tough nut to crack. They're in his party. He's got to be very careful with them. He can't call them out, because if he calls them out, he's going to have trouble with them and they're not going to vote with him. But at the same time, he can't agree to what they're saying because they don't want these things to pass and they want to water them down at best, or maybe just kill them. So how's he going to handle this problem? And that's a great question, and I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know how I'd do it. So we're going to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show to some degree and see if what Obama's got up his sleeve here. But this is a very dangerous development.